Hey Tim, how you doing?
Good. Awesome, as a matter of fact.
I'm so glad to hear it. You look rested.
Do I really? I'm actually exhausted, but that's
Oh,
good to hear.
sorry to hear that. I am too, but don't tell anybody. Hello, internet world. How are all of you? Let us
Hey,
know in
y'all.
the chat. Um, it's really good to be back. This is BlogChat. It's been a spell.
It has been a spell, Matt.
It
Come to think of
has,
it. Yeah, yeah.
but we've been busy, right? We've done a bunch of things.
Hmm.
You and I have been to Badlands and Yosemite. This is
Yes.
this is a pretty good year for
It's
you and
been
I.
it's been a good travel year.
The heck with the other guys, like we had a good year. So, oops, I didn't say that. Yeah, wow. And everything else. Wow. So, the big news, of course, is what you just made this incredible video about, which is, gosh, Lightroom dropped some really new tools into our lap, and they're especially good for night photographers.
Oh
Am I right?
man. Oh my God. Yeah. We've been it's been a while since I've been on the Lightroom beta team. I think I'm back on it now, but there for a long time as Lightroom was developing, I was sort of a part of it in the back end, kind of figuring out what was going on and being able to talk to the engineers. And I've missed that.
Right.
And then suddenly they dropped this bomb, and I'm like thinking, oh my God, I want to be back on that beta team. I should have known about this, so long in advance. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a huge sea change. And so um, there's so much under the hood inside of Lightroom and Photoshop that the average user is just we just don't think about, right? It's like it's a tool, let me grip it and smack on things and make it go, and right, exactly. And but this is huge, and they've done a lot of work under the hood to allow this to come to fruition, and I'm so glad they have. It's you know I hate to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but for those of you all that know me and have heard me speak before, you know that I feel that you know snapping the shutter is half of the art form, and the other half of the art form is producing the image, right? I mean, this is the way it was all through, from Ansel Adams onward, right? I mean,
Yep.
you took the negative and you had to develop the negative, and you had
Yep.
to apply chemicals, and then you had to print, and it was the translation of the negative into the print. And so this has been going on for a very long time. But with the advent of digital photography, it's become even more acute. We've been able to massage our images even more, and Photoshop has always been that area to do that. And then Lightroom came in with these local adjustment tools, which are great, but not nearly as powerful as Lightroom. And now
Photoshop.
they're,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, as Photoshop. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And now they've totally upped the game to where they're very, very powerful. And so, yeah, so it's a huge thing.
And specifically because you can finally create masks nearly as finessed, or somewhat a lot more finessed
A
as you could
lot more.
before. Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. I mean, I always remember telling people, Lightroom is great if you want to do these sort of, kind of broad stroke adjustments, but there's really not the granular approach that you can get that you can get in Photoshop, using
Right.
magic wand or select by color range, and they've just sort of migrated that functionality over to Lightroom, which is it's just huge. It's
Right.
huge. Yeah.
And I just want to take a little break for a second here. For those of you who have read the blog post and watched the entire video, and then gone into your own Lightroom and attempted to make some of these adjustments, we want to hear from you. This is
Yes.
the live show. We want to hear your questions. This is an expansion of the topic that Tim put so much effort into presenting to you. This is your opportunity to ask some more questions, unless, of course, you signed up for one of the 4 sessions that we've posted for Lightroom Live on this, which is a 2-hour session to explore these new features. Um, you can still ask your questions. There's going to be plenty of classroom time if you signed up for those. But this is
Hmm.
your opportunity to get into the chat with us and talk about it. So let's take a peek and see if some other people. Oh, well, let's just say hello first. We've
Yeah,
got
it's great seeing all
Katrina.
these people come in. Yeah.
Hi, Katrina. Hello from Boston. Jerry, good to see you, man.
Yeah, Jerry. Hey, Sandra.
Sandra, awesome. And traveling 5 months. Oh, yes, that's a lot of
Oof.
travel. Good work. Good work. Melissa, hello from Minnesota. Getting cool there, huh?
Oof.
Yeah. And Texas. And Jay from the Bahamas. That's fantastic.
Mm,
And MrRat.com. Steve
Mr.
Barn.
Rat.
Always there first.
MrRat.com. Yeah. Oh, good. Sue and Ed are here. So nice to see everybody.
Hello, Sue. And hello, Ed. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for dropping in. We always love the feedback and sending the love back our way. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
So, yep, you were saying, Tim?
Well, no, I was just saying. So, to just reiterate what Matt was saying, for you all that are joining us, have you watched the video from the blog post? And if so, what questions do you have? That's this is BlogChat. We want to hear what y'all are thinking, what kind of experiences you've had. Have you run into any issues? Yeah.
Right. So if you haven't seen the blog, you could go to this link, npan.co/BGLROCT21. So that will take you to the blog that we're talking about, and that will get you into the right place. So I will also post that up into the chat just so you guys have that. I'm just copy and paste that right now so you guys have it in the comments. And I'll put this here. And we have our first comment coming up. All right, so Angie. So far, I've loved the sky mask. Very helpful for some long exposure sunsets. Fantastic.
Yeah, Angie, I agree. I thought that, basically when it comes to anything automated, I'm always distrustful, right? Except for perhaps a transmission for your car or something.
Right.
But, anything automatic, I'm like, I don't think so. Give it to me manual and I'll figure it out myself, right? But the sky mask actually works. Matt, I was so surprised. I thought, oh, it's not going to select the stars. It's not going to select the star trails.
Right.
And it works. And that AI has been, it's doing its job. And again, I'm just immediately distrustful, but I've been very, very pleased with all the images I've tried. So Angie, I agree with you. The sky mask is helpful. And the most beautiful thing about it is, of course, once you hit that sky mask and you make it, you can simply duplicate it and boom, then you've got your whole mask for the foreground. And it's just like, what? Come on, how cool is that? So yeah. No.
Awesome. Jay, thank you, Jay. He said he watched the posts, but work has intervened. Oh, so I'm sorry. Work does get in the way sometimes, Looking forward to hearing what you're saying. And thank you for signing up for the class. Look forward to seeing you.
Wow.
And then we had Teresa saying she's having issues getting used to the luminance range.
Teresa, I hear you. I don't feel that the luminance range is as powerful or as precise as I would like it to be. When you look at the sliders, you're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to be able to pull off exactly what I want. But then after a little moving, I'm like, it's still not quite as powerful luminance range as Photoshop is. When you go into select by color range with Photoshop and then choose luminance, you have a little bit more power. But I think it is a huge step forward, but I'm right there with you, Teresa. It does take some massaging. And so my recommendation is to go ahead and play with those sliders and then make the mask and go ahead and make some adjustments. And if you find that it's not quite to your liking, just go ahead and delete the mask and start over again and and just remember your old settings. I don't mean to remember the exact old settings, but just kind of get an idea of where you are. So before you enter into starting to adjust your mask, just kind of look at where your luminance range is and say, okay, I got a handle on this. Then just go ahead and create it. And I think what a lot of people do, unfortunately, is they're sort of afraid to experiment. And I'm certainly not saying that that's you, but I find that people are afraid to experiment. And for me, it's like, I'm going to try a thing, and if it doesn't work, I'm just going to quit out the whole bleeding thing and start over again. And I think that's a good way to learn and sort of get to know the system. Just experiment and try it, because I'll even see, differences between what I think is going to happen after moving the luminance range and then applying an adjustment. I'm like, oh, well, that's coming through much more than I thought it would in this area or that area. And so it does take a little bit of practice, and it's not just, you're not going to get it on the first shot, and especially with that luminance range. So I'm with you. I feel it's good, but it can fool us a little bit. So don't be afraid to quit and start over again.
Is this possibly something that we could hop into Lightroom and show real quick?
Sure. Yeah, let's take a look at this. So for this image, we're seeing the screen. Yeah, good, excellent. For this image, I actually used the sky mask, but let's take a look at something like this. And if we wanted to do a luminance range, what we could do is go into the masks here, and you can see I've actually already got two masks created. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back, and I'm actually just going to delete these masks, delete the foreground mask, and click on these three buttons here and delete the sky mask and start all over again. So when I'm in this point and I click on my masks icon, so let's start all over. I'm all excited about the masks here. Here, we're starting from the beginning. So I've got no masks active because I've just deleted them. And so we just see our typical view. And this is the new change in the sort of the interface here. And this is our masks icon. So when I click on the masks icon, it says, hey, you would like to add a new mask. How would you like to do that? And who was it? Teresa that said something about the luminance range mask. So we'll go to luminance range and say, hey, I want to create a new mask starting with luminance range. And so the moment I click on that, we get this new box that's sort of brand new. We've never seen this before. And it says new mask. And over here is the controls for our luminance range. And basically what we have to think of is that this side of the luminance range is our shadows, and this side is our highlights. And so what we're telling it to do is not include one thing or another thing. So in an example like this, let's say I want to adjust the sky matte, right? And I want to maybe bring out the Milky Way. What I do want to do is include all of this bright area in here, and I want to exclude the darker area. So one would think, hey, if I just include if I just click up in the sky, it's going to exclude the darkness. So right here, it says, click anywhere to sample luminance. To remove, create a subtract tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, and instead of just clicking, what I'm going to do is click and drag, and that makes a box. And basically what I'm telling Lightroom to do here is include all of those values into that range. This is what I want selected. This is the area that I want to affect. So I clicked, I drug, and now I unclick. And right away, it selects almost the whole image. And that to me is a little bit weird because that's way outside the luminance range of where I selected. So I'm going to hit Command Z and start over again. Again, don't be afraid to quit and start again. Sometimes it's the best way to learn. This time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click down in here. Once again, I'll start over again by clicking Luminance Range and click and drag down in here. Oh, that's much, much better. So we can see now that when I chose an area that was close to an opposing area, so again, let's say I am on wanting to choose the midtones or the highlight values, brightness ranges, then I clicked in here and it's excluding the darker foreground ranges. Okay, so at this point though, we can still massage this a little bit. So this is saying exclude more of the shadow areas, which when I bring this up, what you'll see is it's going to start to remove these darker parts of the sky. Now, these are much darker, even though when we see it, we think, oh, that's part of the blue sky. It's not nearly as dark as the mountains. But in reality, it is fairly dark. So when I start to pull this over, it starts to remove some of this. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to pull that back. And if I started to bring this value over to the left, then what it's going to say is, hey, stop including those highlights. And as I pull that over, the highlights are not included. So what we're seeing here is the red is the area that's going to be affected. And you'll remember that I wanted to say adjust the Milky Way on this image. So I wanted to brighten and enhance the sky. So the red is what is doing that. All right. So this is at the point where I just sort of throw my hands up and say, okay, it didn't do exactly what I want, but I know what I can do next. So, for example, the most important part of any mask is always the edge between what you want selected and what you don't want selected. And so by using Luminance Range, we've created this very excellent edge along the mountains, which is awesome. But it didn't include this area, or I'm sorry, it did include this area and it didn't include that area. But because the edges are good, that's all I really care about. That's really all I care about because it is so simple to adjust the other parts of the mask. And so now at this point, what I would do is I would start to say, okay, I've gone as far as I can with the luminance range. All right. And now it's time to start massaging. So at this point, what I would do is I would click on this mask here and I would say add. And I'm going to add with a brush. And so when I click brush, I suddenly get my attributes over here for the brush. So now wherever I paint, this will be included. And you'll remember the red is the mask and the red is masking out the part of the image that I want to adjust, which is the sky. So by adding this in, I can just paint right in there, tra la 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 la, and bada bing, we're done. Easy peasy. The most important thing again is this edge. And the initial selection of using Luminance Range did a great job on that edge, but it just left some things to deal with. Now we have this little submask here saying, hey, this was an add to. But now if I click on subtract and say brush, you're going to see we get a new brush here. It's got a little minus icon there. And now we are in the erase mode of the brush. So I'll just make my brush a little smaller using my 2 fingers on the trackpad or a scroll wheel or something like that. And wherever I click, it's subtracted. And I'm just clicking and dragging over. And I'm going to take auto mask off there. Boom. All right. Now at this point, the sky is perfectly selected. And whatever I do to that sky will then start to enhance that sky. So typical, what's typical here? Whites, we add some whites in, maybe a little bit of dehaze, and maybe a touch of exposure and a little bit of clarity and texture. Not much, you guys. Kid gloves on that, kid gloves. So a little bit more dehaze. And there you go. Now, if you want to see the before and after, you could just hit this little eyeball here. That was before and that's after. So Teresa, while the luminance range isn't exactly what I want it to be, I think a lot of the problems occur in night photography specifically is that the upper parts of our sky, especially if you're using a wide angle lens, are often deemed quite dark, even reaching this level down here. Even though we see, we look at the sky, we say, hey, that's really bright. We don't realize that this is actually very dark. So use that luminance range and then add in and subtract from. But remember, all that's super important is the edge. If we get the edge good, we can massage the rest of the mask.
Tim, that was an excellent demo.
Oh,
and
thanks,
Teresa,
man.
Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
We have, I think this is a good time to roll into a reminder that if you guys weren't aware that there is, I'm going to share my screen for a second. And first I'm going to pop something into the chat. There is a Lightroom Live course that we built just for this release. It's about selections and masks. It's about the new things that are going on.
Oh, excellent.
This has been so popular, and you can find the links in the chat, that we were certain that there were some people that wanted to do this, but it's so popular that we're already in our 4th session. And we haven't held one yet, but we've sold out 3 of them, and there's 4 spots left for the 4th session on December 8th. And if that one sells out, we're going to post up another one. So everybody that wants to do this can. And the beautiful part about this is it's 12 people, and it's over Zoom, and it's 2 hours on one night. But that means that you get personal attention. So we're going to go through everything that we want to teach you, but we're also going to answer all of the questions that you have during this time, so that you get some live personal attention during this. So you should check it out. The link is npan.co/lrmasks, and check that out. And what you just saw from Tim there was a slice, a small example of what you'll experience in that course.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's so exciting to be able to finally do some of these things to these single images, you know, that we've always wanted to do. And I so often have to go into Photoshop to get the job done, you know, either because it's quicker or it's more accurate. And Lightroom is really up that game now. That being said, I do feel it's important for people to know that when it comes to night photography, this is not the end all to be all. You know, I mean, if we want to make star trails, stack star trails, we still have to go into Lightroom. You know, if you want to stack images together, or Photoshop, thank you for that. You know, if we want to blend light painted images together, it's going to be Photoshop. Anytime you want to combine one layer, or I'm sorry, one file with another file, it's going to be Photoshop. And so it's an important thing to remember. While this is stellar and super exciting, it's still only for one image. Yeah.
Excellent point that you make there.
Yeah.
And I got to say, every time I do a workshop with Tim, I learn more about Photoshop. This guy is a freaking master. He's been teaching it for 20 years. And he just knows it inside and out, from the guts, you know, to the aesthetics. So what he says to me is gospel. So Ed asked this question. And
I was wondering about that.
If it was specific to Ed, let us know. Was this specific to something that was going on screen, or is it specific to another tool? We'd like to answer you, but I'm not sure that I have enough information to answer you.
Yeah, I agree. I was confused by the question as well. So
we're going to move on to the next comment while Ed hears this on the 30-second delay and then types in a response. Sandra is asking if for the Lightroom Live course, if we have any days on Saturday. To date, we have not posted that yet. But now that we know that you're interested, we will consider that.
So Ed says yes, specific to screen. Ed, the thing about it is I actually was not in the clone stamp tool at all. So I think maybe, and I'm guessing here, maybe your confusion was that once I created the mask with the Luminance tool, I then went in with a brush and painted and added in, and then painted and subtracted with the add and the subtract. But that's a very different tool than the clone stamp tool or the healing brush, which is a completely separate tool outside of what we're talking about.
Right.
So hopefully that'll make sense, and maybe you could chime in and let me know if that makes sense.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, keep the questions coming if you have them. We'd love to know if you have any other specific questions about the new selection and masking tools that just came out in the latest version of Lightroom. Tim, I think I get the feeling that you're excited about this development.
I am, you know, I am equally as lazy as I am. I know, right? As I am needing to be very, very particular. And so for me, if I don't have to go into Photoshop, and I love Photoshop, if I don't have to go into Photoshop to complete a job, I'm super psyched. That's my lazy part. But the other thing is that job is going to be very particular, and I want it to be exact. And up to this point, a lot of Lightroom's local adjustments to me have seemed like they're kind of there, but there's a lot of slop to it, you know? And the thing is that in this day and age, Matt, and I know you agree with me because you come from a print background as well, is that a lot of what we see these days is just on a tiny little monitor, you know, like on our phone. And we really have no way to inspect to see whether how well the craft has been done.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just so accustomed to making big prints that everything gets viewed at 100% or actual pixels.
Right.
And so if a mask is kind of off, it's off-putting, you know?
Yeah.
And so hopefully the ability now to get in and sort of get to this granular level of masking,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that people will get more excited about the craft.
Right.
So
and making 4-foot long prints, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that beauty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, that's my hope, because I really do, and like yourself, we've had this conversation many times. I do enjoy the craft of photography as much as I do
Yeah.
the art, the art form of it. And
Yeah.
so when I am teaching, especially Lightroom and Photoshop, I really like to delve into that. It's just so it's satisfying to be able to complete the job well done rather than just sort of hack it.
Yeah. Why did you make the picture, and what are you going to do to finish it? And why does it matter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
all
It's a
those
statement.
things. Yeah. Yep. We got some really good questions, but I do want to pop this up. Thank you, Teresa.
Yay,
I'll
Teresa.
see you there at session 4. Yep. And thank you so much. Thank you. We do have a new question coming in.
What percent to you for your photos? Add to edit. Oh, okay. Okay, great. Do you want to take that, Matt, or do you want me to take it?
Well, I know from working with Tim, learning a lot of post-processing from him, that 100% is the truest way to look at your images. You're looking at a pixel-to-pixel representation of your image. And if you look at it any other magnification, you're not seeing what the image really looks like. You're seeing some compressed or super uncompressed version of it that's way beyond what it should be. So I think 300% might be okay for studying whether your lens has coma or not, but it's probably not a good level to edit at. Would you agree?
I would totally agree. And that was from Angie, I think. Is that correct?
Angie, yep.
Angie, there we go. Yeah, it's right on screen. Yeah, Angie, it's really important to, I think, consider the different magnification levels when we're editing. And the fit to screen, which is the typical magnification you'll see when you enter Lightroom, and you go into the develop module, it'll be fit on screen. And to me, that is a really good magnification for getting the overall feel of an image. And it's important, and you do want to edit at that magnification for that reason, for the feel and the look of the image. When it comes to other things, though, like for example, when you're sharpening image or you're removing noise from an image, then it's super important to be at 100%, which is called actual pixels, or 100%. And what that does is it makes each pixel on the screen represent 1 pixel in your image. Whereas every other view, whether you're at 300% or you're at 12.5 or 25%, what you're doing is you're getting 1 pixel on the screen representing many different pixels. And so when you're, say, like looking at a mask, it's important to be at 100% to see exactly how it's looking. 300%, I rarely go into that, but sometimes I will go in that far when I'm doing very specific cloning. But that's about it. For the rest of the work, you want to check it at 100%. So, like, for example, what I'll do is I'll make a mask, and I'll be at the fit to screen, which may be 25% or something magnification. And I will edit my image and look at it and say, hey, that looks good. But then ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm going to magnify it to 100%, and I'm going to zoom not zoom. I'm going to scroll around all the edges of, let's say, the mountain against the sky. And that's where you're going to see any failures in your mask. And that's where you want to remedy that as well, because what 100% really is it's like looking at a print on a wall at a normal viewing distance. And that's typically, what is that, the diagonal of the print, Matt? Do you recall?
I think it's the diagonal of the print is your standard viewing distance. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you take your print, you take the diagonal of that print, that it should be the viewing distance from you to the print. So you don't want to pixel peep on a print, but at the same time, if you ever looked at up close at a billboard, it would look like not good. And so Um, so you go to the proper viewing distance, and that's what it's kind of like when you're looking at an image at 100%. So that's kind of the magic number. Yep.
It's great.
Yeah.
We had another vote for a Saturday class, so we'll let
interesting.
the rest of the team know that there's another
Okay.
vote for a Saturday class.
Sure. I think that's not a problem. Well, we should be able to do that.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. This is great. I got to say, like, being the guy that posted the video on YouTube, you know, I was the first one that got to see it. If you guys haven't been able to watch it through a second time, you should, because there's a lot of good information in there. And we know that at least, I think about 48 of you now are going to be attending classes, because it feels like, as we're seeing in the comments, it's possible that those last seats are in the process of being checked out right now. So
yeah,
sounds like we'll try and get some more. We had two of you signed up while we were talking here. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. 2 seats left, I guess.
Yep.
You know, I gotta say, I do love those classes too. You know, it's like every time we do these blog chats and you see the names pop up from you know, all the people we've been with, it's like, oh, it's so good to see y'all. You know, and the classes are the very same way. You know, it's a way to kind of reconnect with people you've had experiences on with on the road. So
we have our tribe, and we love you guys. So it's really fun. Definitely really fun. Great. So, Tim, are you done traveling for this year?
I am, which is, it's always a double-edged sword. It's bittersweet, you know. I mean, we love to travel, but it's also nice to be home. And this is kind of the nesting time, right? It's like, snuggle in, and oh my gosh, I've got so much work to do, and on the computer, you know, I have so many images I want to go back and reprocess, and images that have been made throughout the summer and spring and fall that I've not yet gotten to. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna be doing 2 more. I think I have 2 trips. I have one for sure. One of them is a surprise. You know, it's vacation. I finally get to take vacation with my wife.
What is that word? What does that mean?
Relaxing and looking at
yeah. I've heard
relaxing.
of that.
Yeah, there might be warm weather involved.
But hey, now wait a second. We have Perseids coming up too, don't we?
Geminids.
Or Geminids, right? Geminids.
Yes. That's my second trip, and I'm trying to figure out where to go. I just did a presentation for the Chapel Hill Camera Club last night on panoramas, but I was thinking about meteor showers the whole time, because gosh darn it, there's going to be a good solid 2.5 hours of darkness for the Geminids, and probably at about 140 meteors per hour. And that's December 14th at like 2:30 a.m. So this is going to be an early morning one, because the moon goes down late. So if you're going to do a blend, you'll probably be doing a moon set blend, or a sunrise, you know, dusk blends. You could try and shoot both sides of it and get 2 different looks. But to get a nice solid 2.5 hours of darkness at 140 meters per hour, it could be good. And the Geminids are coming back around their trip up and around the North Pole. So they'll be coming back down on the western side, back towards the horizon at that point. Because they arc up really high during the night, and then they come back down towards the horizon. So we were checking that out when we were at Yosemite, seeing if it would be low enough that it'd be interesting, but not so low that it'd be blocked by the mountains down in the valley. I think Yosemite's out, but I need to find some place that's going to be dark and dry. So,
and maybe a little bit warmer than, say, Montana or Catskill.
Yes, please. I would take a cold, dry desert, though. I would. Yeah.
But we digress.
Well, I mean, this is BlogChat. Chat is part of it, right?
Chat. That's right. That's right. Matt, are we going to see this weekend? Oh, is Sleepy Hollow this weekend?
Yes, I will be the Headless Horseman. No. The Headless Horseman is probably going to make an appearance, and I may make a cameo during the weekend. Yes, I'm planning on dropping in, Sandra. So we'll see you there. And oh gosh, here's some other fun things. Yes, we are famous for our glow in the dark workshop t-shirts. That's hilarious. Thank you, Jay. We appreciate it too, man. Oh, it looks like Chris is here in attendance. Death Valley.
Nice,
Chris, you're going to
Chris.
Death Valley? That's fantastic.
No, I think what he was saying is Death Valley might be good for the Geminids, which I
Death
agree with
Valley
him.
is it? That is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And
I mean, that could be awesome.
yes.
The
And
mountains
since I
aren't quite so high as Yosemite, I mean, as far as
Mhm.
being down in the valley. So,
and not hard to get to. I just hope there's not another windstorm. Moving on. Thank you, Chris. That's a
moving
great
on.
suggestion.
Yeah,
I always
truly.
take your suggestions with gravity. You got the 20 millimeter f1.8. Ooh, that'd be nice for the Geminids. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good because it will be coming back down towards. This time I was thinking of shooting two cameras, one stationary as I usually do, and the other one with a star tracker on it, so I can follow. Yeah.
You know what, Matt? Actually, I have a question for you. Let's reverse the tables here.
Yeah.
So, Jay is saying he's got this 21.8, which is awesome. And I've never really given much thought to this before, but after shooting the last meteor shower in Badlands with you,
Yeah,
the meteors seem to be so bright that is it really important to have a super fast lens like a 1.4 or 1.8 for those meteor showers, because they are going to appear on a 2.8 lens,
Wow, you could play this so many ways, and I love your question. You could shoot it at 1.8, but then drop your ISO so you don't blow your highlights. So you could have a higher quality meteor, which I'm not sure how much that matters, but I guess the edge transitions, the gradients in it might be higher quality, and I haven't shot that to test it. But
Interesting.
2.8 is usually great because your stars look great at 2.8, but the meteors are always brighter than the stars. Almost always brighter than the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike asks a good question too.
Wait, I gotta go through these in order. Justin, I think the Hudson Valley will be warm for the Geminids, but it's guaranteed to be cloudy. I have never ever had a clear night for a meteor shower. Okay, maybe once. I had a little bit of time with it. Angie asked if anybody's shooting the upcoming lunar eclipse. I've been considering it. I have a lot of things that I'm planning for, but I might hop out for that. It's on the 18th. Soonish. Yeah, it's coming up. And yes, Sandra agreed that the wind was crazy in Death Valley. It was. Yeah. Yep. Oh, there it is. The morning of the 19th.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Yep. Yeah, there's a near total lunar eclipse on that, and that would be fun to shoot too. It is on my. I'll stick around where I live here. I'm not going to travel for that because, oh gosh, yeah, I'm preparing to leave on vacation. So, on a tracker, the longer the shutter speed, the dimmer the meteor. I think it has to do with how wide your aperture is, and whether that matches up with the ISO for an equivalent exposure, right? I think if you're, having not tracked a meteor shower yet, I can't say this with authority, but going by the math, I'm going to say, and anybody who's done this can disagree with me.
Mike has jumped in. Steve, Mr.
Yeah.
Rat.
Yeah, that it would be the same if you've got your equivalent exposure, right? So I will flash this up. Yep, on a tracker, meteors look about the same.
Yeah, those meteors are so bright. I mean, they're just so bright.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to lose the beautiful colors in the meteors if you're set too high. Yep. Yeah, you don't want to be set so high. Like I always get my starfield shots first and star stack those, and then try and set it for the meteors to go after that, which is usually 30 seconds, f2.8, 6400. That works. Totally works. So Jay started planning the eclipse today. Great. Let's see those eclipse pictures. Let's keep talking about that eclipse. It's going to be fun. And it looks like other people would. Good. We're getting a bunch of people thinking about the eclipse. So I'm hoping for clear skies too. Let's all work towards that. Yeah. Good stuff. Oh, you guys are great. You know we're among our people here.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I think we've kind of exhausted that. Thank you guys for your showing. It looks like gosh, it looks like we have possibly almost, I don't know if we have 1 or 0 tickets left for the 4th session, but when this happens, we pick another date and post it up. So
Yeah.
if you didn't get it now, check back,
Mhm.
or possibly we'll send out another email and let you know. Um, and we will open up another session so that everybody gets a chance.
And I also think it's worth mentioning, Matt, that local corrections are such an important part of uh, night photography, and the 2 hours that we're going to be talking is not just about the new features,
Right.
right? It's basically going to be explaining the how and why of local corrections. And so,
Yeah.
so if you've never delved into local corrections before, or you didn't fully understand the old way of working, that's all going to get fleshed out
Right.
in the in the class. So
Right. I'm just
yeah,
putting that up there so people can see what we're promising to teach.
yeah, and Chris makes a good point in that, even if a class is sold out, to
Oh,
sign up for
truth.
the wait list.
Yep.
It's so true. It's so
Yep.
important.
Yep.
Yeah,
The
things
wait
happen,
list is
and
right here. So
yeah,
click on that wait list, and then you can go choose what you want to sign up for on the wait list there. Thank you, Chris. I should have
yeah,
mentioned that myself. Yep. Good stuff. Yeah. Um, and Sue, thank you. We appreciate you.
yeah. Oh, and yeah, what
Yep.
Jay makes a good point here as well.
Oh, look at that. Photo
Hmm.
pills. Yeah, photo pills is, of course, the masters of planning. Um, they go to great lengths to help us understand the best ways to plan for stuff using their incredible app. So, and thanks, I just a shout out to PhotoPills. Thanks for making an app that's truly affordable and not asking us to pay for it again yet, which I would gladly do. I'm just saying that. Like to ask me to pay $10 once is unfathomable.
It is by far the best $10 I've ever
Yep.
spent in my entire life, and that's
Yep.
hands down easy to say. It's just yeah,
Without a doubt. Yep.
yep.
And just to follow up on what Chris said, um, when if you do sign up for the wait list, we're going to email the wait list first when we announce the new session.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yep. So the wait list is the same thing for the workshops. If you guys didn't get a workshop that you wanted, always sign up for those wait lists, and that's how all those success stories of people saying I got in because of the wait list. That's why we
Yep.
put it up.
Yep. Things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Tim, thank you so much for. I know you got home from uh, Yosemite,
Yep.
and you were trying to download these new updates while we were there on the terrible slow trickle of internet that we
Oh
had in the
man.
valley of Yosemite. And then you went straight into understanding them and applying them, developing the
Yeah.
blog post and the curriculum. Thank you for the hustle on that.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, man.
My pleasure. Super excited. Super excited to share it with everybody too.
Yep.
And
Yep.
help everybody understand how to make better night photos with our tools.
Yep. Yep. Jay, I'm so glad you asked this. We are amidst the project
Ah.
right now, and yes, there would definitely be a gift guide. Yep. Oh, and gosh,
Oh,
I'm
thanks, Teresa.
blushing to show this one, but thank you, Teresa. Yep. Uh, and Melissa, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the tribe. Uh, we appreciate you. Um, so yeah, gratitude again, Tim. Thank you for doing that.
Hmm.
It's a good topic. And we will be addressing it longer during these sessions. And thanks to everybody who signed up and who will sign up. If you're
Yeah.
seeing this on the replay, just follow the links that are in the chat or in the description of the video, and you'll be able to find both the blog post, which contains the video, and whatever sessions we have available at the time. And we thank you for that. I think it's a good time to wrap up here. Appreciate you all for tuning in. This has been a long-awaited follow-up edition of BlogChat. Perhaps more of them will be coming soon.
Yeah.
And do us a favor. I know that this sounds like total YouTube talk, but if you liked this, show the love on whatever platform you're watching it on. Give it a like. We thank you for the comments, and share it if you found it useful. Share it with somebody that also loves night photography, and for that we thank you. Any
Yeah.
parting thoughts? Yeah.
No, just thanks for coming along for the ride, y'all. It's just great to see y'all and hear your questions, and great to share. So we appreciate you being here.
Awesome. All right. Well, Angie, we'll see you then. And Jay, have fun at the crew launch. And for everybody else, thanks for being here. And we'll catch you next time. Go seize the night.
We'll see y'all.
Take care.